Good day, everybody. This is Matt Ritchie, founder of the Blue Spoke. I'm here today with Kyle Damon. He's the founder of 10-7 Marketing. He is the marketing go-to guy behind the Blue Spoke, and he's here today to discuss some of the new economy. How are we doing, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So, you're on the opposite side of the country as I am. How's everything going on the East Coast today?
You know, there's a little snow on the ground outside, but it's 45 degrees and sunny. I know after this call I'm going to get outside and get me some fresh air and enjoy the scenery.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm glad you can get some of that San Diego sunshine because it does do the body very good.
You can send as much of that over to me as you can, so I'll take all I can get.
We'll keep a little for ourselves, but we'll share the love. So today, the main topic I really want to talk about is the new economy. What do you know about the new economy?
Well, for me, that's a broad and deep question, and I think most importantly what it comes down to is sort of shifting the way business has been done and the way things have been done the past, let's call it the last 100 years, where, I know you and we talk about the old economy as being, you go to a job, this is what you do, not because you like it, but because you have to earn a living, and you don't really enjoy it. You're looking, you work for the weekend basically, and hopefully you make enough money to make ends meet, and you do that until you get to a point where you can't work anymore, and then you go to somewhere where you can quote unquote retire, and maybe ideally enjoy your last 20 years or 30 years or whatever that may be. And I know you and we've talked about that doesn't really resonate with either of us, and I had a chance to go out and visit Matt out in San Diego where he lives, and he brought me into and showed me a world that people played by a different set of rules, and I was not only blown away, I was just completely motivated to make that my life as well. And Matt, I know you can build on that, and that world that's out there, it just sort of blew me away. For those of you that don't know, I lived out there for a year, and Matt and we went and saw and did some incredible things, and I know it's sort of my goal to create that in my life now. I was inspired by the people that I met, the industry shakers and movers that Matt introduced me to, and away we go with it. And this is why we're here in this call today. Matt, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, there's quite a few movers and shakers out here in San Diego, and I must say that the time we shared together here for a year was awesome, and I'm really glad I got to influence your life and open up a perspective that maybe Pennsylvania doesn't necessarily get a lot of visibility to.
Yeah,
and living in here for now 6 years, a little over 6 years, I sometimes come to think of it as the norm, the world we live in. But even here in San Diego, it's not everyone who has this new economy mindset. I feel like there's people I talk to all the time that don't see the world as I do, and it's really interesting to see them and get their perspective and see their why. And when I tell them what I do and the things that I have planned for the future, sometimes they're like, I get a lot of different reactions, all the way from, wow, that's awesome, like, how can I work with you, to, that's kind of crazy, like, I don't think that's, normal, and I don't think that that's something that I could do.
Yeah.
So I get a whole range of answers or responses, if you will. But just the other day, I was talking to a young woman. She was a secretary, and she was saying how she wanted to go back to school and be a nurse and do all this other stuff. And I asked her why she wasn't doing it, and she didn't really have a great answer for me. But I think after our conversation, she was a little bit inspired to maybe revisit that and see if that's a possibility for her life, because that was something she was just pretty passionate about. And she obviously was not super happy about going to a job that she didn't enjoy every day and really waiting for the weekend to really live her life and be happy. She was unhappy for 5 days a week, and for 2 days a week, she did whatever she could to forget about the other 5 and try and be happy. So it was really an eye-opening experience for me, and I get that more and more, actually. I think I've been attracting those kind of people in my life, and it's really been great for me because I love talking to those people, and I just really love to open up perspectives, and it really helps me. It opens my perspective and gives me so much different knowledge and different viewpoints.
Nice.
But the new economy, this is something that probably a lot of people, our listeners, probably don't know about. Maybe they've heard something about it. Maybe they hear it on the news. And it's probably a little different from what anything you've ever heard about before. And what I like to call it is actually the blue economy, because here at the Blue Spoke, blue is a representation of holism, of everything working in cohesion as far as people, the earth, and the world in general, country to country, nation to nation. Everyone is one. So that blue really represents the holism of it. So the blue economy and the new economy are pretty synonymous, but I love to call it the blue economy because we are the Blue Spoke. So the blue economy going forward, though, is something that I've been tracking it for the last 3+ years, and we're doing research on it now, and it's just been growing and growing and growing. And for those of you who aren't really familiar with it, do you want to maybe cite some of the pillars of the new economy, Kyle?
Yeah, Matt. I want to build on your blue economy quickly, and then we can jump into. I guess we're just splitting words there between the blue economy and the new economy. But the idea is a new way of doing things, a new way of trading. Money and goods are just a system of trade and exchange, and money is a very liquid form of trade, without getting too technical. And really, we're just trading what we want for what you want, and ideally doing it in a way that benefits everybody involved. And one thing I think our parents and our grandparents' generation, they didn't really consider the planet in that equation of trade. So there's a video below in the comments that you can watch about the blue economy, and it's more of a maybe a technical view of a version of the blue economy, I guess, if you will, and something that we very much align with. But to talk about the new economy and a new way of working, Matt, to answer your question, it really does come down to, if you're not happy, you're not going to perform to your capability. One, you're not going to enjoy it, what you're doing, and two, you're not going to be doing nearly as good a job as you can. So it's a bit like you look at the human body and the human mind, and it's without question the most complex system that we know in the whole entire universe. The mind is this place of miracles that science is just beginning to understand. And so we look at that as how much potential the human mind and body has when it's healthy, when it's happy, and when it's quite honestly turned on and doing what it loves to do. There's something amazing that can happen there. That instead of grinding away in a factory, when somebody really was an artist and a dancer, and that's really what they wanted to do, well, let's find out ways and make connections. Largely that's available now because of the internet, because the way we can connect with people and the way businesses and organizations can connect with one another and with other people. We believe that it's much more possible to do what it is that you do love, and it's everything's available to us now. If you need training, you can access it inexpensively on the internet. As opposed to you had to travel to a certain place of the world or to a university to learn what you needed to in the quote-unquote old economy. Now, if you're dedicated and motivated enough, and you're driven by your passion enough, you'll learn what you need to learn, because your passion will drive you. So it's my passion to make these tools and these things available to anybody who wants to build a new life for themselves, to participate in this new economy of people who are passionate and doing what they love. And I know as a web developer, I rely on technicians, artists, designers, people who want to not only design the visual sides of my website, but also the people who like to do programming. And there's people genuinely that I work with that genuinely love what they do. Some people love programming, and to me that's not my thing, but for some people that's what they love. And it's everybody connected doing what they're best at, what they're most excited to do. At the most simplest level, that's the new economy. It goes into other things, but I think on the basis that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of framing it. And if you look back in history, you think about all the people we consider, Renaissance men or masters, and you see the information that was available to them, or the process in which they became, masters at their craft. Mm-hmm. The information and everything that's available to now is really, truly mind-blowing. We have such a connection between all the information and all the regions of the world, where before it was very, very regional, very
segregated almost.
Yeah, very segregated to where you were in the world. So if you lived in France, you wouldn't be able to connect with somebody who lived in China, and you didn't know the ancient teachings of certain people. And to know all these and to have everything for basically for free, almost for free. I mean, you can do so much on the internet for free. There's some things that I would recommend, obviously buying and paying for, and it's truly worth the cost considering, back in the day, that stuff wasn't even a possibility. So the possibilities that are out there right now is really something like we've never seen in our world. So it's really opening up a stage for people to play on that just wasn't available before. And that can be traced to a lot of things. You can do it to your food. I mean, I eat superfoods from around the world now that weren't available back then. I mean, things that grew in South America, the South Americans eat. Things that grew in China, the Chinese eat, and vice versa. There was no cross-pollination, if you will. And I feel with the pollination being spread evenly now, there's a chance for great, great things, actually to do better things. You think about all the masters of Da Vinci and all those people of our history that you read about, and you think, oh man, I can never be that great. Well, you could be better. We're going to be better than them because we just have the better tools. So I think anyone who's naive enough to think that our best days are behind us, or that we will never reach a certain level of certain people say in the Renaissance or whatever, that's just not even close to true. I think that we are going to far surpass that here in the coming years.
Yeah, the analogy to me, just the idea of how much is available to us for so little now. You look at actually the story I want to tell you is, I was giving blood the other day, and one of the volunteers he was giving me orange juice and a cookie after I gave blood. It was a retired, if anybody knows what this is, I'm not sure what it is, but he said Raytheon was a company he used to work for, and apparently they made computers and old computer stuff and old technology things. I don't know if they're still around or what they do now, but he mentioned about the computers that they used to build or they used to work with. They took up an entire room, and they cost millions of dollars to build, and took a lot of electricity and all of these things. And the amount of computing power that $1 million computer had didn't even compare to the phone that you have in your pocket right now, in computing power that you got for a few $100s. And if that isn't an analogy of what's available to us now, to anybody who wants to, access whatever it is in the world, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's a great point. And on the flip side of that, I feel that I've coming across a lot of people and having so many conversations with people about their worldviews and just talking to people from all around the world. This dual perspective I feel that some people have and that I have, there's two perspectives really that I've really come across. They boil down into two categories. One is that, you're born into this world. It's a pretty scary place. It's very unknown. And things happen to you. You're at the kind of the mercy of your circumstances, and you just do the best you can with what you have. And going forward, that you're going to live this life, however that ends up being, however life comes to you.
Okay.
And I used to be completely in alignment with that because I didn't really have any other perspective to go off of. But what I've been realizing after just studying the world and studying people, all the great people, and really coming to this realization for myself just through self-realization is that, we chose to be in this time and place, and to be here and now on this journey of life, we all have a purpose. We're all here for a reason. Nature, if you think about nature, everything in nature has a purpose. Everything has something they do. It all fits in perfectly. And, human nature, we are part of nature. So to think that we are here just on accident or just here just to exist and just to consume, that really is a pretty narrow mindset, if you ask me, because I think we're here for a purpose. I think everyone has a different purpose. And, maybe the purpose is just to figure that out your entire life, just to really be on this journey and fulfill upon whatever calls to you. And for people, it's so different because everyone's so unique. Every single person in the history of the world is completely unique, from the DNA to thoughts, their experiences, their life, up until every point is unique. So everyone has a unique path and a unique journey and a unique passion. Because even though we may share, 95% of the same passions, we're not the same. No one's the same. So to be on this journey, to bring it home here, My perspective is that we're all on this great journey, and to really not explore that passion and not explore why you're here, to me seems like a little bit of a wasted life. And whether you believe that, when you die you go to heaven or hell, or you believe that there's an after, or there's a reincarnation, depending on what religion you are, it doesn't matter. Either way, you're here and now. You might as well make the most of it, have the most fun, do something that gives back to people, because in my experience, whenever you're being in service to people, that's where the real connection is, and that's where the real happiness for me has been. It's been the most joy has been when I connect with people and really bring happiness to others. But to do that, and for me to connect with people and bring more love and light to the planet, has just been an amazing experience. So I never used to experience any of that. It was really all about me. I was the center of my universe, and other people just sort of were, people that played along with me in a way that helped me or that didn't help me. And it was kind of a struggle. But when you look at it as that everyone's there in unison, and everyone has a certain passion and a certain role to play, then it becomes a whole different, movie.
Yeah.
So this game of life we're playing is pretty unique. So I think it's a pretty interesting way that you approach it. So I would ask everyone out there to really just think about it, and really don't jump to any conclusions, but think about it and go from there and see what comes up for you.
The phrase I like to ask myself, or the way I like to frame it, is if money were no object and I knew that I could not fail, what would I do? And that really gives me a certain clarity or framework that really allows me to open up a little bit and really get to that core, maybe a little bit more of what, if I could wave my magic wand, so to speak, right, Matt? And what would I do? What would be my ideal situation? And Matt, I know in your coaching you talk about that, about expanding one's belief on what's possible for them. And bringing it back to the new economy, Matt, you mentioned on a great point about everybody's passion is unique. And to me, if there's 7 billion people in the world, let's say half of them are within that working age to contribute in the economy, and then in the world economy, really, it's become such a globalized economy now. The more people that are doing what they love, the more fun and the more possibilities it creates for all of us. So if I had my magic wand, I'd wave and get everybody to find what they love and get at it, and contribute in any way they can. That would be my on my wish list, so to speak. But
yeah, that's a really interesting way of looking at it, because most people, myself included, for a long time, just sort of, I had goals, but I didn't really plan backwards. So now I ask people to say, paint the perfect picture in 5 years. If you could look at it and paint it exactly, I'm talking every detail from where you live to what kind of house you live in, what kind of car you drive, who your spouse would be, if you have children, where you're working, what exactly you're doing, what you do for fun, how much money you're making, everything. If you could paint that picture and make it exactly how you want, exactly. I mean, I'm talking, there's no limitations here. Paint that and then work backwards from that. Like, what would it take for me to get that? To me to do all those things, what needs to happen? And I mean, I realize there's a lot maybe to go from where you're at now to where you really want to be, but it's possible. I mean, anything's possible. There's no limitations in life other than what you put yourself.
And to be honest with you, if I hadn't spent that time with you out in San Diego and met the people actually doing it, face to face, and saw that they were real people and not just not a person on a TV show or a person on the internet saying that this is what they do and their life's incredible and they're driving these amazing cars and living in these amazing houses. If I didn't meet them, you didn't introduce them to me, I probably maybe being from Pennsylvania or something, in a place where not a lot of people live that way, I probably wouldn't believe it. So I think it's important to say that it is possible.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I was the same way until I really experienced it firsthand. And I don't know what it is with the human condition here, but we don't really believe things until we see them for ourselves. So I guess what my thought would be is to seek out someone that you admire, seek out someone that is doing what you want to do in whatever level, whether it be family, business, whatever, and talk to them, because a lot of them, they're willing to talk to you. They're real people and they love connecting. And if they're in a place of such success, then they're probably a pretty down-to-earth, humble person that's willing to not only talk to you but share how they got there, because everyone loves sharing their story.
Mm. Yeah, there's a book that I read, and I just want to add, the internet really makes us easy. A lot of this goes back to the internet as far as raising possibility, because it puts you in connection with so many people so easily. There's a book called Mentoring with Millionaires, and I read it recently, and I'll put a link in below the comments if you want to check it out. It really talks about how to engage people that are actually successful, and what are their values? What do they want somebody to come up and bother them and ask them for money, or to say, wow, you're really successful, I want to do what you do, or do you approach them in a different way? And this book will give you a different perspective on what successful people value, and in a sense, it might bring you in alignment more with your own success. But I think it's important to realize that the internet allows you to connect with these types of people on a much deeper level, and we find in internet marketing and the digital world, the most successful business people on the internet really have an open door policy that you can get in contact with almost anybody in that organization with a simple and heartfelt email. So the power is there.
Yeah, and I see we see that more often in our generation. I don't want to call out the older generations, but I feel like it was a little less so in the older generations. You had these big buildings and these big offices with secretaries, and it was inaccessible. But now a lot of the people who are successful that have a business online, they are pretty small team. They may have a team of 5 or 10 people at the most. I know some of the biggest people on the internet don't even have teams that big. But they're real people, and not only will they jump on a call with you, but if you're in their neighborhood, I'm sure they'd probably meet you for lunch or go to an event they're having and go up and talk to them. That's what I've done. And once you meet one and they connect you to other people or whatever, who knows where it could lead. So I would highly recommend that. But it's scary. I know when I first moved out here, man, I was so scared. I was like, man, these people, what are they going to think of me? They're going to judge me. Well, guess what? It's not like that. They're not going to judge you. They're too busy doing what they do and really enjoying their life to really judge you.
What you mean? That's amazing. Well, let's bring it down to some action steps here to close out our half hour. Matt, what is it that you've done that I know you've mentioned and gave me some advice in different ways on how to take action, and things that have made a dramatic impact on my life. What can we get started with?
I would say the biggest thing that you could do to just start was, I mentioned it earlier, was to get clear on what it is you want. Think about 10 years, 5 years, 1 year from now, where exactly you want to be. And honestly, get as detailed as possible. The more detail that you can envision and really visualize, the better it is. And write it down. Write down exactly what it is you want to create and how you want it to look. And then, like I say, do a reverse engineer. In order for me to be a nurse, I have to go to nursing school and I have to do the 3 years. And it may sound daunting but this is your life. What else do you have going on? This is your life. If you want to create something that's going to be fulfilling and really make you happy for the rest of your life, I think it's worth the investment. So if you're going to, whether it's go back to school, whether it's quit your job and do something you really love, whether it's to do whatever, whatever it is, it's possible. So to reverse engineer that, I would say just get super, super clear. And I know a lot of people, I had a lot of trouble getting clear. For me, I started meditating, but for some people, they just need to do whatever they love already. So whether it's painting, whether it's go for a run, biking, anything to kind of clear your mind and really get clear on what you truly, truly want. And I would say don't base it around money. Base it on true happiness and what it looks like. So don't say, I want to make $10 million. Well, what does that $10 million get you? $10 million gets me, okay, I want to have some nice things. Okay, I want to have, a group of people that look up to me. I want to be powerful. What all does that bring you? So to really get clear on that, I think would be the very first action step I would tell anyone to do.
Nice. I like that. What does the money get you? Because obviously it's not about the money per se. Oftentimes in our culture we think it is, but I like the story of the miserable millionaire, and the idea that you can, if you're on this mountaintop all by yourself in your mansion, sitting there with all your toys all alone, are you really going to be happy? And I think that's a powerful lesson and something that our culture doesn't, really teach us.
Yeah, we have a lot of focus on the end game of money, and not really why we want to be there. There's a lot missing in our culture from what I've seen and from what I've experienced. Because my experience has been, when I had a ton of money, doing things I didn't like to do, and not really contributing the way I want to contribute, I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy. It didn't matter how much money I had. So to really get clear on the why, and I'd rather make $50,000 a year and do something I'm super passionate about, enjoy my life, and have loving people around me than make $10 million a year and just really kind of be on the opposite end of that.
Yeah, and I think that's important to recognize too. Some of the the community, we like to call them the new rich. The people that some of the happiest people that you've introduced me to didn't necessarily make a lot of money. They drive a 10-year-old car, but they're doing what they love, and the passion just oozes out of them. And that to me was another really great learning experience, Matt.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everyone coming on this journey with us today. I hope you got a little something out of it. Check out those links in the comments below, and we will see you next time.
All right, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.